Okay, you guys, welcome to the Be Your Own Boss podcast. Again, I'm Olivia Honig, and I am from Western Illinois, and I'm also the owner of Desert Down Ranchwear, which is a Western women's boutique. And yeah, I invite you guys to come check that out. But today I was listening to a podcast, and it really hit me. So I thought that I needed to share a few things with you guys that really, I think that a lot of people just misconcept or don't take the right way. But this podcast is all inspired from basically Emily Benson's podcast, Why Are Boutique Owners Bitches? If you guys have not listened to that, please go take a listen, because a lot of what I'm going to say is going to basically be coming from things that she had said in her podcast that I really kind of took in and was like, whoa, okay, I need to talk about this. So I'm going to be looking at my computer. If you guys are watching the video on this on YouTube, feel free to watch if you would like. I've got my headphones on and I'm just chilling in my kitchen, but anyway, so in this podcast, she talks a lot about basically what the perception is from boutique owners and also as a consumer from customers. And then she also goes into people that are wanting to start a boutique or start a business and how they feel like they're kind of kept in the dark when it comes to asking other business owners questions. So I wanted to give y'all my kind of take on that. She has a totally different outlook. She kind of went into both perspectives. I'm just going to give you guys mine and take it as you will. So one of the things that she brought up is about secrets and how, approaching a new, if you're a new business owner and you're approaching somebody else who owns a business, why do you feel like boutiques hold so many secrets? And I really don't think that a lot of boutique owners mean to do this, but I'm going to go into some explanations on why I think people can see this side. So for me personally, I don't hold any secrets. I'm one of those business owners that will literally tell you anything and everything about, how I ran my business, how I started it, where I'm from and how I got to where I am and, what I've been doing along the way. But that only really goes so far. So I guess the reasons why I'm comfortable are kind of just because I know the hard work that I put in. I know how much work it is and that it's a ton of work and that not everybody is actually up to that. Not a lot of people are really prepared for the amount of work that goes in. Sorry, that just cut out. Prepared for the amount of work that goes into owning a business. There is a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and you have to really be good at managing your time and putting your efforts in the correct places. So I'm just really comfortable with it because I know that the work that I've done is work that can't be taken from me, but it's also work that is valued at some point. Sorry, I say a lot also. I think we went over this in the last episode. That episode is not on YouTube, but it probably will be maybe shortly soon. I don't really know. But anyway, my microphone is also being junked today. I don't understand why. Let's fix it on here. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. Okay. So reason I'm comfortable is just because I know that the work that I've done, I know that it can't be taken from me. I know that I put in a lot of work, I put in a lot of money, I've put in a lot of effort in learning my skills and learning about the behind the scenes part of being a business owner. So that's just why I'm comfortable. I think that, for me, I give advice because people are going to take it or they're not. I also feel when people are asking for advice, this kind of goes into it, but people don't really listen to a T. Every single step along the way, I can tell you every single thing that I've done to get to where I am, and you're really only going to maybe retain less than 50% of that information and maybe only put 10% of that information into action. And when it comes down to it, the action is what matters. So, I can tell everybody every single thing and every secret I have and everything that I've done along the way, but are you going to do it? That's the thing. Are you going to actually go home and be okay, this is what I need to implement. I need to do this today, this tomorrow, this next month, this next year, and that's how I'm going to get to my end goal. I don't think that a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people are just hey, what advice do you have? And then they get it and they're okay, I don't know what to do with it, which I've been there. We've all done it. Like I said, it's the action that follows. So I'm one of those people now that I've grown older, I guess, that when I'm asking for advice, I'm not loosely asking for advice and just, what's your suggestion? And, they say something and I'm like, oh, okay. And then kind of go about my day. I'm more of a person that, takes that to heart and I write it down or I note it in my phone or note it in my brain and try to really keep that at the frontal part of my brain so that I keep remembering, this is what I'm doing now, this is what I could be doing, and this is what I want to do later with this information. So even when I was in the auctioneer industry, I had tons of people coming up to me with advice, and I literally maybe took away 80% of the information that I actually retained, and a lot of it sticks with me today. A lot of things just not even business related, but just morally related and just related in the way of how you act as a business owner, the things that go in the back end of it, how you make relationships with people, the way you talk to people. I'm very much a yes or no ma'am kind of a girl, and I think that going around my friends and stuff when we're ordering food and the lady's like, hey, do you want some water? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And everyone's kind of like, whoa, why'd you say ma'am? I'm like, because that's just how I talk. Yes, ma'am, I do want water. Thank you. I don't really go about it. I guess that's coming from when I lived in Texas. That's how a lot of people reacted with each other, acted with each other, I guess. And it just became normal for me. I like that way of talking. I like making everybody feel respected. One of the best parts of advice, I cannot talk today. One of the best pieces of advice that I had ever gotten actually came from a girl who's younger than me, and she is in a business with my parents, and she said, every time I go out to eat, I ask what the waiter's name is. And I'm like, why? In the back of my head, I'm kind of thinking why? And it's because, when you're saying, hey, Charlie, can I have another water, please? Charlie's going to feel like he's important. Charlie's going to feel like he's been recognized. He's going to feel like he's part of something now instead of just being like, oh, hey, can I get a water? We don't really care who you are, but please, I just need a water. I think it's very important to talk to people by their name. That's something I've really kept in my frontal piece of brain, that I feel like I need to call people by their name. It makes them feel important, and it makes me feel important when someone says, hey, Olivia, can you come and do this? Or, hey, Liv, let's talk about this. I'm like, yes, let's talk about it. Or yes, let's go do it. I feel like I'm important. I feel like I'm part of something right now, and I love that. So that's something that I took, and it's advice that came from somebody who doesn't have a lot of business background, but they also know how to treat people. That's just something that I really liked. So like I said, I've got a lot of advice over the years, but it's just what you pick and choose on what you keep at your frontal brain. And I feel like that's very important when it comes to people coming up to you and asking for advice or asking how do you go about this, or hey, I'm trying to start a boutique, what's your first step, or what do you suggest? That's one of the biggest questions I think I get is people will message me even now that I don't really even pay attention to my social media. I have someone on my staff who does that for me, but I definitely have people who still will message me and say, hey, I want to start a boutique. What's your advice? And, instead of sending them this long message and book of advice, I start with a video, and that might sound weird, but I send these people, I wanted to say my friends, but I send these people who come to me asking for, business advice. I send them a video, and I say, if it's a girl named Alexis that messaged me, I'll say, hey, Alexis, I'd love to talk with you more. Here's what I did, this step, this step, this step. These are the first 5 steps I think you should take. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to let me know. It takes me way less time to send them a nice video, and they feel like they're actually getting personal with me, and it's very helpful, honestly, for me too. It saves me a lot of time. But we'll get into that later too, because that's a big part of why I feel like people get this why are you holding out on me? Why are you being mean? Why aren't you messaging me back mentality? But I'll be getting into that. So yeah, ask for advice, but be very appointed with your advice. Have a reason why you're asking this advice, and then also don't just ask for advice and then never do anything with it, or just ask for advice just to ask, because you're wasting that person's time. And I feel like that's where it gets kind of on this rocky track of are boutique owners mean, or business owners mean, or why aren't they letting me know? Blah, 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 blah. It all comes down to respect of that person's time, that person's energy, that person's thoughts, and all of that. Like I said, I could spend, 30 minutes typing up a book, or I could send you a 5-minute video that feels way more personal. And then I let you know hey, these are my first 5 steps. let me know when you get to that point, and then we can talk some more, I just feel like it's a lot more of a time saver. It's definitely just, in my eyes, more personal, so I like that a lot. Sorry, I'm moving my microphone a little bit because I'm still trying to see which way, position is the best for this thing. I have new podcast equipment coming, and I'm so excited because they actually have, the nice voice protectors and, sound silencing equipment and all of that, so that'll be coming soon. But here's the other side of that. I'm going to get into the side of, where the aspiring business owners are seeing. So, all these boutique owners that you're messaging, they have a job. Their first job is to run their business. And I know that you guys want the information. I know that you guys want to talk to these people. But their first and foremost job is to run their business and be able to be successful in their own business. And a lot of business owners in general don't even know how to reply to certain questions because honestly, even for me, I'm winging it. Every single day, I am learning something new. I am literally winging it, hoping that it works. There's obviously things that I have set in place, but as far as strategy, it is a trial and error time of life where I am trying to see what's working as much as you want to know what's working. So that's where it all comes full circle, I think. And this is going into the time aspect of things. So I, again, would love to be part of someone's journey and be able to talk to them for hours or days or months and, help them step by step of, what do you do to become a business owner? How do you start? But it does take a lot of time. And, I unfortunately just don't have that. So that's why I even have this podcast, because I want to help as much as I possibly can. I really do. I just don't have the time to answer everyone's questions. And there are ways for business owners to go about, getting something back for them spending their time. I used to do business consultations all the time. I would, these people that would come to me about, starting a boutique, I would say, okay, I charge $100 an hour. Let's have a discussion. Send me a list of things you want to talk about and let's do it. So sometimes I'd sit there for 30 minutes and their questions would be done and they would have no questions. I'd be like, are you sure? There's still 30 minutes left. There's nothing else you want to pick my brain about or talk about or anything like that. And they'd be like, no. But I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what else to give you because I don't want to overwhelm you, but I also you're paying for my service, so I want to help. And sometimes we would talk for literally 6 hours. So, that was $600 to get my information. And, I think it was very helpful. It was helpful for me too, because I was analyzing my own business while I was talking to them. And that was another investment for me to take the time to analyze my business, analyze what I'm doing, be sure that I'm giving honest, correct information to these people and helping as much as I possibly can. So there are ways to benefit from sharing your business or sharing your secrets, or you want to call them, or information. But I think a lot of people just don't think about that sort of a thing, because we do spend, I know that I have spent a lot of money and a lot of time just doing research or talking with people or booking appointments. I have $300 accountant appointments to be sure that I'm on track for next year, or talk with my bank. I've spent time and money and invested all that to get where I am today. And even if I didn't take all of those people's information, I still invested the money and time to spend with them. So I think that, a lot of boutique owners, I don't want you guys to message them and be like, hey, what is your suggestions for starting a business or starting a boutique? They're busy just as much as they want to help you. They are busy and they're doing their job, their first and foremost job. They are trying to still run their business. I know it's super easy to assume that we all have our lives together, because everybody thinks that my life is together and that I have it all figured out and that I am just running the successful business and I'm not having to do a thing because I have employees, and it's not the truth at all. I am still grinding every single day to get things where they need to be and do my job and be sure that this business doesn't just go in the trash can. So, just remember that when you're messaging these boutique owners or business owners or trying to talk with somebody, if you're trying to talk with your local, you want to start a bakery or trying to talk to your local bakery owner, you got to remember that they still have a job too. So just keep that in perspective. We're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to, not talk to you. Some people are just busy. I always try to at least message someone back and be like, hey, listen to my podcast, or, hey, like I said with the video, and sending them something like that. But I don't get to everybody, and I don't have time personally, honestly, openly. I don't have time to do that. When I'm not working 24/7, I'm trying to spend time with my family or my friends or whatever. Personal time is not really a thing for me. So I totally get that. I know that a lot of people don't though. And it's just something that I think that people need to hear and know the reality of what it actually takes to keep running a successful business. It's time is money, and money is time. So there's that. So we're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to blow you off. We just are busy. But that's something that Emily talks about in her podcast. And she also goes on the other side of it, where some people are just blunt and mean. I know a lot of times, I never really reached out to any other boutiques because I didn't want to disrespect them or their time, and I had no idea what I needed to know at the point. But I definitely have had people who message me, and right off the bat, one of my biggest questions is, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to call your business? Where do you want to market to? What is your crowd? And if you can't answer those questions and you have no idea at all what you're trying to do, you just know you want to own a business, sometimes I'll try to help out and guide a little bit, but it rarely gets to the point where it's okay, you're serious about that. And that's why I had those consultations where I would, be like, hey, it costs $100. Then I at least know that they're making the investment. They're really serious about doing this. And that's kind of some other advice I think I have for some people. I guess here is some of my secrets. But one of my biggest pieces of advice is that you need to invest. You guys go to Starbucks, or you go get dinner, or you go buy the new clothes, and you can invest in all this stuff because there's no risk. I mean, you might risk not getting your drink order or getting the wrong size in something, but you don't have an actual risk. And when you're investing in knowledge, you're investing in a class, or you're investing in time with your, financial people, or, your business planner. When you're investing that time and you're investing that money, that's a risk for you because you don't really know yet if it's going to work out or not. But as business owners on the other side, we've made the investment, and we know, it does take that investment. We've spent our time, we've spent our money, and that's kind of what I think a lot of people expect out of somebody who's going to ask you for advice. So that's just my 2 cents. Come at me if you want to, I don't know, but I'm just saying, we've done it all. We've literally made this business successful. You've seen what we do. We are promoting every day. We're doing everything we can to keep it afloat, and it takes personal investment for you to get up and go do something and, show that you're serious about what you're doing. And I think it's a very, very key thing when it comes to people thinking, oh, they just have to buy inventory, or, oh, you just have to make a cute storefront. If you're willing to spend $50 on a rug, spend $50 on a class, spend $50 on a class to learn about anything to do with business, on a Shopify class, or, an e-commerce class, or even if it's just something with a financial person to build your business and say, hey, I need a business plan, please help me, or, with an attorney to get your trademarks correct. Take the time, take the money, and invest in that. If you think you can be successful, invest in your business, or invest in yourself to make your business better. So that's something that I truly believe in, and I hope you guys do take that advice. But yeah, so that's kind of all I have to say, I think, about the Emily podcast. That's where it all stemmed from. I just want you guys to know that, yes, it's okay to reach out for help. Just be sure that you're intentional with your help. And I think that that's something that really needs to be said and really needs to be heard, because a lot of us boutique owners were getting called mean or rude or ignorant because we aren't getting back to people. And I've talked to a lot of people, even boutique owners, that ask other boutique owners questions, and they're like, well, they just don't tell me anything. They're pretty secretive. There's a reason, maybe they're not trying to be secretive, but we have worked our asses off to get to where we are. And I don't want you knowing my vendors. I don't want you to know this, or this. I want you to have to work for it too. And that's kind of the world today, I feel just doesn't want to work. So maybe that's just my opinion, but I feel a lot of people today just don't want to work and they just want handouts. And I'm not about that. And so I feel like a lot of us business owners, boutique owners are feeling that right now. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. Just be intentional with your questions. Be intentional with the people you talk to. Try to retain 80% of that knowledge instead of 20%. Take notes, be remembering people's names. Remember the conversations that you're having. Try your best to put those words into action. So there's my podcast for y'all today. That's really all I've got, but I just wanted to get on here and share my thoughts on that. And I hope you guys can agree or disagree. You can, kind of maybe soak it in a little bit and see one side or the other if you didn't already. But that's my 2 cents. And yeah. So thanks for listening to the Be Your Own Boss podcast today. If you guys have any questions, oh my gosh, if y'all have any questions, do feel free to message me on my personal Instagram, Olivia _Honig? Yeah, Olivia _Honig, so OLIVIA_HOENIG. And you can follow my business page if you want to see anything promotional wise that you think maybe like you can implement some kind of marketing that we're doing, or maybe watch our stories and see how we promote on there. But that is Desert Down Ranchwear. It's Desert Down _Ranchwear on Instagram. But again, if you guys have any questions, either comment them on this podcast. It's going to be on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Podcast, whatever. I'm losing my voice. I'm so sorry. I need to end this. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and have a good time being your own boss.